Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School, Universal and Practical Knowledge. Since 1969, we've been teaching this truth to you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, coming out of 1 West 125th, Harlem, New York. You understand? Today, we're going to be breaking down sex is marriage. You know, you go out on the internet, you go and see a lot of tapes about people bringing it up, even the school, other brothers in the school in other cities, and done a breakdown on sex equals marriage. And, you know, it's still something that we need in the community today, because if you look in the streets and what's going on in the culture for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we got our young sisters being prostitutes. You got our, you got our brothers being whoremongers, you understand? Like brothers getting women, sleeping with them and throwing them away. You understand? That's not allowed according to the Bible. You understand? That's a sin. So what we got to understand is, as a people, we got to understand that sex does equal marriage. And once we get that understanding, maybe we'll realize that you can't just go around sleeping with a person for a night, I'm calling it, an overnight fling or a one-night stand. That ain't according to the Bible, you understand? So we're going to get a couple of scriptures. Let's kick it off with Exodus chapter 22, verse 16. All right. All right, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, all right, just right off the bat, we got a couple words, we might not be that clear on them, so we're going to get the definition. That's one thing you need to get used to doing, is looking up words when you're not sure about the meaning, get you a compact Bible dictionary or, the pictorial Bible dictionary, Zondervan's. You understand, and get in them, start studying some of these words. So the first word that we ran across, and if a man entice, what is it to entice? So let's look that up. Entice, to lead on by exciting hope or desire, allure. Just like it said right there, if you see something, it don't always have to be about, physical attraction. It could be the way that certain people market things to you. You might be walking past a clothing store and they got the mannequins in the window, they're enticing you to come in there and buy some clothes. Or you're walking past a restaurant and they got, food advertisements in the window. That's basically enticing you to come in to get something to eat. But in this scenario, enticing is talking about, there may be physical attraction, you're talking good, So you all are vibing, Put it in layman's term, y'all vibing. If a man is enticing a woman, he's vibing with her. He's feeling her, she's feeling him. You understand? All right. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, it's another word, betrothed. So you go look up that word betrothed. Betrothed just means, basically in today's term, you think it as engaged. You understand? All the brothers in the school, all the sisters in the school, they understand this very well. We have a one-year rule in place in the I.S.U.P.K, you understand? Like, and there are certain rules and regulations around that. Like, if a sister is talking to a brother, she's not allowed to go out and talk to another brother at the same time. That's if they're not married, you understand? Like, if they're courting each other, she's courting that one brother at that time. Like, it ain't allowed to be courting multiple brothers at one time, because that's unbrotherly. You understand? That's one thing that you'll find in the I.S.U.P.K as a brotherhood. If a brother is courting a sister, you're not going to find another brother going behind him courting that sister at the same time. That ain't brotherly at all, and that ain't something that we condone in the school. But that's basically, if the sister is not betrothed, what the scriptures are saying, if the sister is not basically courting another brother, then go ahead. All right, so let's read on. And lie with her. What does it mean to lie with her? Like, the scriptures ain't talking about just lying down in a meadow, watching birds fly by, And when it says lie, it's talking about sex, having sexual intercourse with that woman. So that's what it means to lie with her. So we're going to keep reading. He shall surely endow her to be his wife. Endow. It's again another word, you know, you might want to look it up. We'll just look it up so we get the understanding. The word endow. So endow, to provide with a permanent fund or source of income. Right. So one thing that you'll find in the biblical scriptures, and a lot of times you'll see the tradition is still carried on today. Some people actually still do this, but it's not that common. What, you know, the proper way to do it is to go and ask the father for his daughter. You say, you know, you go to a man to man and say, hey, look, I like your daughter. I think she likes me. I like your permission to court her. You understand? I like your permission to take her hand, not take her hand, but have her to be my wife. You understand? So that's something that, you know, that was practiced in biblical times. And every so often you get brothers that still do that, to go and meet the parents, speak to the father, ask that father. And that's honorable to do. And you should do that. You understand? Like, because that daughter is the possession of that father's at that time. You understand? And you're going to take her. She's going to be your possession after you two become married, have sexual intercourse. You understand? So that's an important tradition, especially something to do in the UPK. You know, you UPK brothers, you got a brother in the school, you know what I mean? Or even if the brother ain't in the school, you go, if the father's available, you understand, you go to that father. And if it's a sister in the school, you know what I mean, who don't have a father, obviously you got to follow the proper protocols and, you know, get permission from that commanding officer over that city, or, you know what I mean, the head, at whoever that is at that time. It's in all the announcements, so all the brothers should know it by now. We say it at the end of just about every online class. So brothers should know that by now if they don't know it. And if you're outside the school, obviously before you get with any of these sisters in the UPK, you got to follow the proper protocols. You understand? You got to speak to whoever's in charge of the school, where you are, where that sister is, to, you know what I'm saying, to even speak to that sister. So that's how that works. But basically that scripture just lays it out. And then it's the second part. We're going to get verse 17. If her father utterly refused to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. You know what I mean? So there, in biblical times, there was a dowry, which if you wanted to take a sister and have her be your wife, you would have to pay the father a dowry. And that dowry was 50 pieces of silver. You understand? And that's biblical times. But obviously, you know, there might have been different prices for, you know, depending on the father. And, you know, if he wanted to have her marry something else, was like, no, I got him promised for another man. So, you know, if the other man end up bowing out of it, then maybe the price changed. Who knows? But the standard price, according to the Bible, was 50 pieces of silver. You understand? So that's basically the definition of what it is to be married. You know what I mean? Like, you lay with that woman, that's now your wife. You understand? Like, it's funny because growing up, you know, in the Christian church, you would hear people say, oh yeah, we're not married, but we married in God's eyes, and everybody look at them sideways. You know what I mean? And you got people shacking up. Well, according to the Bible, there's some truth to that. You know what I mean? It's truth to saying, yeah, we married in God's eyes, because you don't need a piece of paper from the American telling you that you married. Like, if this is, and you might ask, why does this apply today? Because this Bible right here is the culture of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. You understand? It is not your culture to get a piece of paper from somebody who say that they're ordained by God when they're not. You understand? Somebody who's a justice of the peace and all this nonsense. You don't need any paperwork from nobody. You won't find none of that in the scriptures. You understand? Like, you lie with that woman, that's your woman for life. You lie with that man, that's your man for life. You understand? And there's rules and regulations all around how to conduct your marriage. You understand? For instance, if you was a woman and you lied with a man, the only way that you could leave that man, you know what I mean, is if he died, then you go get you another husband. You understand? But that was your man. As long as he was living, that was your man. You couldn't be with another man. You understand? Same thing for a man. Like, if you took that woman, like, you couldn't put her away, you know, except in the instance where she committed adultery. You understand? But there's all kind of rules regarding how marriages should operate. But but the definition is right there. It just tells you right there. And so all the myths about what you learned in the Christian church about shacking up and y'all not married because y'all ain't got a piece of paper, that's nonsense. And that's not according to the scriptures. All right, so let's get an example of when this took place in the Bible. All right, we got the definition. Let's get an example. So let's go to Genesis chapter 24, verse 67. All right. Genesis chapter 24, verse 67. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent. So this is the son of Abraham. This is Isaac. You understand? One of your four parents, right? So he's taking he's taking Rebekah into his mother's tent, and it says, and she became his wife, and he loved her. There ain't nothing in there about, you know what I mean, they had to get somebody that gave them a ceremony or made them sign a piece of paper or none of that nonsense. It simply said Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, meaning he lied with her, he had sexual intercourse with her, and she became his wife. Simple as that. So all this complicated nonsense that go on in the Christian church about just being raised, even if you ain't a Christian, you know, just being raised in American society, you know, you might consider yourself I don't know, you know, you might follow Islam, whatever it is. It's like all the nonsense that you see around ceremonies, all that stuff don't make you married. You know what I mean? What makes you married is when you have sexual intercourse. And it's crazy because even in previously in the white man society, if you didn't consummate your marriage, that was grounds for annulment. And I think that most of those laws are pretty done away with. But I looked up something on the internet and it talked about exactly that. Like back in the day, if you didn't actually consummate your marriage, then if you were able to furnish proof of that, then you can get an annulment, and that was legally binding. And it makes sense, because if you never had sex, then you're not married. The white man knew that, and the only people that don't know it is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. But you know if you're having sex with multiple people, you know it's wrong, because that's why a lot of y'all sneak around when you got a woman or when you got a man. You sneaking around, not getting caught, because you know you're not supposed to be with that other person. You know you committed to this one person. You know deep down that you're not supposed to be doing that. But now what we giving you here is biblical proof that sex is marriage. You understand? Once you lie with that person, that's your husband, that's your wife, right? So we got the definition, and we also got an example in the Bible. All right. So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28. All right, so here's some more another clarification around marriage. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, what does that word virgin mean? A lot of times we get caught up in the whole immaculate conception, and you know what a virgin is. A virgin just means a woman of marriageable age, right? And I got that right here in this pictorial Bible dictionary. So we're gonna quickly go through this. So the word virgin, the word renders three Hebrew and Greek terms. The first one, from a root meaning to separate, is the technical term for virgin, a young unmarried woman. All right, that's one. Number two, used of a young woman of marriageable age, whether married or not. So that second definition lets you know right there, like whether you're married or not, you can still be considered a virgin if you're of a marriageable age. You understand? So we can get rid of all that confusion around, you know, whether you got to be married or not married to be a virgin. If you're of marriageable age, meaning a young woman, you know what I mean? Just think about it. Like, how tough is it for people who later in life to get married? You understand? I mean, it's a little easier now because of the internet, but before all this online dating, it's like, you know, once you reach a certain age, like people start to look at you sideways, like, why aren't you married? There must be something wrong. You understand? But let's get back to the scripture. Which is not betrothed. Again, there go that word, you know, like the Bible is clearly pointing out, like, this woman shouldn't be dealing with another man, not even if they haven't had sex. She shouldn't be dealing with another man. She's not betrothed. And lie hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, meaning, to break this down, he lay hold on her. Not that he's strong armor or nothing like that. You know, if you got any confusion about rape, you go up a couple verses to verse 25, and it'll explain, you know what I mean, what goes on for brothers who take what they want instead of following the laws. You know what I mean? That's death. That's a death penalty according to the Bible. You understand? But he lay hold on her, just meaning, again, he's enticing her. He's spitting game just like you do in the streets every day. You know what I mean? You holding it down. You spitting that game to a sister, letting her know, you know what I mean, look, I'm the one for you. And he lied with her, and then they be found, meaning it be made public. You understand? Like everybody knows it. Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. You understand? Like, to humble a woman, meaning, like, you know what I mean? It's not like in the sense of, the best way to explain it is like, that woman is now giving herself to you. Like, it's not right for her to give herself to another man, meaning you humbled her, you had sex with her, you lied with her. That's now your woman. And according to the Bible, that's your woman for life. You understand? So, again, get in here and get these, get the definitions of these words. You know what I mean? Understand that you are not allowed to go sleep around with who you want to sleep around with. If a woman has a man, you cannot sleep with that woman. You shouldn't even be talking to that woman without, you know what I mean, without good cause. Obviously, you know, if you work with a woman or something, you know, y'all got business in that regard, you know what I mean, that's different. But meaning on a relationship level, y'all shouldn't be having those kind of conversations if a woman has a man. You understand? Men, obviously, this is not a multiple wives breakdown, but you know what I mean, if you have a desire to get get more than one wife, then you can. You understand? Like, it's a way to do that. You need to call the school and get counsel and understand how to best handle that. You know what I mean? Because if you go in there, you're gonna be like all the brothers on the streets, trying to got, you know, 2-3 women, hiding them from your main woman, getting caught up on child support and all this nonsense, when, you know, you just need to be upfront, but you need counsel. You need to know how to navigate that, because it is challenging for brothers who don't understand how you should be approaching this. You know what I mean? So with that being said, get in classes. We got classes every Tuesday through Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And obviously we got Commanding General YAHANNA show from every Monday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know what I mean? Get in these classes, support, pay your tithes, support the priest. You know what I mean? As we get out, make these videos, go from city to city, across this country and across the world, spreading this truth, waking up our people. You know what I mean? This is just one more thing that we need to understand that's going to help build our nation. You know what I mean? Once we understand, once we get the concept of sex equal marriage, you know what I mean, we know how to deal with each other and not be unbrotherly to one another. You understand? So with that, shalom.